It's coming up.
Okay, and we are live. Hello, everyone. This is your Castle Keeper, DM Samuel, and we are here to play the Pools of Narrheit, the Castles and Crusades actual play stream. And I'm here with my players who I will let introduce themselves. We'll start with Rekmit.
What? Where did that? Dwarven Runemark.
Excellent. And Leanise.
Leanise Wollender. She's high elf and she's an Oraalau.
Excellent. And Zinolestimus.
Hi, my name is Matt. I'm playing Zinolestimus Fey, who is a human monk.
And Burt.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm playing Burt Longfellow, who's a halfling rogue.
And last but not least, Jake.
I'm George Hardy. I'm going to be playing Jake Tildor, Cleric of Durendale.
Excellent. And as I said, I am Sam, and I will be the DM. Does anybody want to do a quick recap of what happened last week?
So the party met in the town of Indelofen. Am I saying that right, Samuel?
I say it Indelofen, but it doesn't really matter how you pronounce it.
Indelofen, and we got together at a tavern, as often happens. Heard some rumors about the area, decided to check out one about a ram's head. We headed toward the farmland in the area to find the ramhead rock. Got attacked by some dog porcupine creatures, kind of. Not sure what they were called, but quickly defeated them with a sleep spell. Found the ram's head rock, pushed it over with a lever, descended down into a dungeon that is inside the hill, and went through the first room. Which had a few doors. The second room had some water, a water pool in there with a trap statue that tried to spear us and actually got me in the thigh. And then went into the second room to the north, which held a scarecrow and some decrepit crops. At one point, we dug up the crops and found some treasure gems. And the scarecrow came to life and again tried to smack me around. But Rekmit, the dwarf, was handily there to save us from damage, and that's where we left off. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I think you got it all.
You got it all. Let's go through my notes.
Excellent. Okay, so you are now standing in a room that is in the middle of a dungeon, but has a bunch of plants in it. And many of them are rotted or just didn't grow the correct way. You just finished defeating a scarecrow, and you dug up some gems. And if you recall correctly, there is a door there to the west. Or sorry, to the east.
And I think we already checked that door for traps, didn't we, Alex?
I think so, yeah.
I do believe so, yes.
Does anyone want the honor of opening the door this time, or?
I'll go up and open it again. I'm always happy to open the door for others to go in first.
All right, let's do it.
Excellent. Okay. You open the door, and there is a set of stairs down into darkness, about probably 10 feet down. They are made of stone. They look, to to the dwarf anyway, they look much better crafted than the rest of this dungeon. If you remember, the earlier rooms in this dungeon that you have looked at are, they are hewn, they are created, they are built, but not with a huge amount of skill and not with a huge amount of great craftsmanship.
Am I able to tell if it's dwarven constructed or if it's just something else, just well done?
It's well done. It is not. It's most definitely not dwarven. It's not that well done, but it is more. It is better built or of higher quality than any of the other structures or portions of the structure that you've been in so far.
All right, so I'll relay that to all of you so that you know that this is different than what we're in. It's a different like section or something about it. There's better construction all of a sudden.
Do we want to descend into the depths or go back to some of the other doors?
I think maybe
I
clearing
think we
this
should.
door.
Yeah, head back.
Yeah, head back. I think
Might be a
Get
better
the
idea.
First floor clear.
All right, Rekmit will close the door. Guess we'll head back to the main entry room.
Okay. The last room that you were in, or the actual main room, the first room, which is the lower room on this image here, right here.
Yeah.
There were no other exits in that fountain room, were there?
Not that you saw, no. You didn't see any. Just the north and south.
Now, Leanise will walk around the room, at least she'll kind of go down the east side and kind of circle back, go up the west side, see if she notices anything.
You want to give me a wisdom siege check?
Yep. What dice? 20 plus.
You don't see any other points of egress out of this room, but it looks to you like the pool is draining, like it's ever so slowly draining.
So I'll point out to the others, it's like, hey, the pool looks like it's draining out. Is that because it looks shallower than when we came in, or is that...
It looks shallower than when you came in, yeah.
Okay. Well, the water's draining somewhere.
I think we checked all the doors in here. We want to go to the east or the west?
We've got the south as well, I think, right? Because we came down the stairs in the center of the room.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
correct.
you're right.
We've got east, west, and south to go.
Let's go. I'll go open the west door.
Sounds good. Do you want me to check it for traps first? I don't know if we did or not.
That would be great, but I've already said I'm going to go open it, so we'll see.
That's one way to check for traps.
Oh, traps. Who cares about traps?
Right? Open the door, see if the trap springs.
No trap, but it opens into a 30-foot long, 10-foot wide hallway heading west. And there is a door at the end. No other doorways in the hallway.
Does the floor look any strange differences in the tone of the floor or anything?
Nope, does not appear so. Now you're back in the area where it's much less well crafted than the stairs you saw going down, but it's the same amount of craftsmanship as everywhere else that you've seen. But no.
And I know we saw footprints or traces of passage when we first came down. Is there similar traces of other people being here in this hallway?
Not in this area. The only place that you've seen footprints so far was in the first room that you were in.
Oh, up at the top of the stairs then?
No, when you were this first room here down in the bottom of the image, it's got a spiral staircase in the middle of it, and that's where you came down from the outside. And you saw footprints in that room, but nowhere else. You haven't seen them in any other rooms.
Looking at the footprints, do they head towards one of the doors, or do they just kind of mill around in this room?
If you want to... Well, so I guess you're still in that because you have not gone into the hallway, right?
Yeah.
No, you know what? It looks like they sort of... It looks like they go to each door, but then move and go to the next door, almost in a clockwise pattern.
Beyond our footprints, by any chance, are they?
No, you saw them when you first came in. I mean, your footprints are also there, but these are different. They're booted footprints, a little bit smaller than yours.
I say they look to be like child size, right?
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
All right, should we head on in this down this hallway then?
Yeah.
Why don't we? I'm gonna look for a large rock to toss down the hallway to see if it sets anything off.
Good thinking.
A large rock. This room's pretty clear of any debris. You'll have to.
I'll just go run back up to the stairs real quick and grab a bigger than fist-sized rock and roll it down the hallway.
Okay. You do that. Nothing happens. Do you try to roll it hard enough to hit the door on the other end, or are you just kind of, you want to see if the floor has anything wrong with it?
Yeah. I just wanted to see if the floor activated from the pressure or anything crossing it.
Mm-hmm. Nothing happens that you notice.
I'll go ahead and check is there a door on the other end of the hallway, I'm assuming?
There is.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and check that for traps then.
And Samuel, I don't think the map is updating on the Twitch stream.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Huh. I don't know why. Oh, there it goes.
There it goes.
Probably because I wasn't on that page. So checking for traps. Go ahead and give me an intelligence check.
I got a 16, and then because it's a class skill, it counts as prime. I think, right?
Mm-hmm. You do not find any traps.
All right, I'll go ahead and open the door this time.
Rekmit. Oh, all right.
Okay. The door opens into a room that is about 50 feet by 30 feet, rectangular. And it opens, the longer side is to the north-south side. And there is a door in the middle of the northern wall and a door in the middle of the southern wall. And inside this room, you can see immediately that it looks like it was someone's bedchamber. It has a large double bed. It has a desk in there. It has a couch and a couple of chairs. And an old armoire in one corner that is sort of broken down and falling over.
So does it look like it's not been in use for a while? Is it dusty? Well, I guess there's not much dust down here.
This room is extremely dusty. Extremely dusty. It looks like it has not seen any kind of occupation for several years.
Are there any tracks on the floor? Any disturbances to the dust before we go in?
Nope.
Zinolestimus is going to tread very quietly to the southern door and give it a listen.
Yeah, and Leanise will go and do the same to the north.
I'm just going to be guarding our back.
Rekmit's gonna walk around the room, kind of go along the walls to see if there's anything strange or things that would indicate hidden passages or any hidden anything.
Okay. Go ahead and so the people that are listening, give me a wisdom check. And what's Rekmit looking for?
You're checking the walls to see if there's like anything that would indicate hidden room, passage, doorway,
Okay.
or even like a little safe, hidden safe or something.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead and give me a Actually, you don't need to roll. You don't find anything strange or odd with the walls.
Yeah, I was about to have to look up the dwarf ability.
Yeah, so Leanise rolled 14 on the die, which is an 18 total for listening. And that's a secondary.
And Leanise was at the north or the south door?
North.
No noise is apparent from there. It's very, very quiet.
The south door listen check was a dirty 20.
Okay. Also no noise.
I will give a look back to Burt. Kind of give him a nod with my head to see if he wants to come over and check this south door.
Yeah, come on over and give it a go.
You can never be too careful in old places like this.
That was an 8 on the die, so it goes to a 9.
You do not find any traps.
Zeno is going to cautiously open the door, give a peek in, see if he can tell anything just from cracking it a couple inches.
That's the south door?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the only question I have, it's just coming to my mind. So I know that Zeno, I think, had a torch, but used it to partially kill the scarecrow. So my question is,
correct.
Who is carrying a light source, if any?
Would that torch have went out and I needed another torch, or would that torch have been recoverable?
You could probably recover it and relight it. It was not all
I would have done so.
expended. Okay.
I would have done so instead of wandering around in the dark.
That's what I figured, but might as well ask. So the room that you peek into is roughly 30 by 30 foot square, and also has a large piece of furniture in it. Looks like a bed. From just a peek, that's what you see.
Should you give this room a
I don't.
before leaving it?
Yeah, Rekmit's going to go over to that desk or whatever and kind of search that.
As you start searching it, it basically kind of falls apart. That's how old and rotted it is. The wood is completely has been dried and wet and dried and wet, and it's basically just crumbling. And it's been completely emptied. There's not a piece of paper left in there.
Didn't even know my own strength.
Leanise will peer under the bed.
In the main room,
Yes.
Leanise sees a small chest under the bed.
Look what I found. She will take her 10-foot pole and push it out the other side.
Okay.
Do you want me to check it before you open it?
Yes, I was just going to push it out. So it's like, hey, look. But yes, it would be good, I think, if you checked it.
All right, 18 goes to 19.
You do not. Are you picking it or checking it for traps?
Oh, just checking it for traps first.
You do not find any traps. But it is locked.
Do you want to try and open it? Oh, it's locked. Okay, I'll go ahead and try and pick it then.
Okay. I'm going to make that roll.
Ooh, that's a natural 20. Goes to 21.
This lock was not a very high quality, so you very easily pick it. And if you open up that chest, inside is a very bright white sleeping gown made of fancy silks and a pair of silk slippers.
Interesting.
Could be worth something.
They look to be human size.
Drat. There they go.
So the question is, does anyone take them?
Sure. Leanise will take them and put them in her backpack.
Leanise, when you pick them up, you get the distinct impression that they have some type of magical quality.
Ooh.
You can't tell what it is, but you definitely sense a magical aspect to them.
Interesting. Okay, definitely maybe treat them with a little more reverence and put them carefully in my backpack.
Okay. Other than that chest, there seemed to be nothing else in that room, under the bed at least. And nothing in the desk, so.
Okay. And I will let the others know. So when I put it away, so there's something magical about this one. Actually, before I put it away, I will actually offer if anybody wants to try it on.
No.
Seems a little risky, and it wouldn't fit me anyways.
Yeah.
I really do want to try it on, but I'm going to restrain myself.
All right, and I'll put it in my backpack.
I'll have Rekmit go kind of check out the rest of the bed, the top part of it, see if there's anything under it, if there's sheets or mattress or whatever, however it's constructed. See if there's anything in it, if it just falls apart too.
It basically falls apart as well.
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
All right, I'm going to go over to that armoire or whatever, see if I can have that fall apart on me too.
You're like a bull in a china cabinet. It was already sort of halfway falling over. Its legs wouldn't hold it up. So as you start to try to go through, you know, it's sort of the kind of thing where when you open the door comes off in your hand. And then the thing kind of teeters and shifts and falls over halfway again. And it doesn't look like there's anything in there. There are hooks and makeshift hangers in there, so it's pretty obvious that at one time someone did live here and hang their things here, but it's been a while.
So I'll call out to the rest of the guys quietly. It appears that the room to the south is another bedchamber, and with a bigger bed, perhaps there may be a bigger chest underneath.
Like that thinking.
And I will enter the room to the south.
Okay. You see a bed and a large armoire, and this room has a carpet in it.
Oh.
It is a pretty intricately woven carpet, but it's pretty old, so as you step on it, you see that it kind of crumbles away.
Knowing that Jake might be a man of faith, I'm going to wait till he gets in here to see if he senses any kind of evil emanating from this room.
I'll go to that room and see what I feel.
You don't feel anything. Nothing in particular.
Any religious markings on the walls? Any paintings? Nothing of religious significance.
No, you do know that, looking at the walls and just sort of looking for things, you notice that at one point in time there probably were things hanging. There's little knobs and little outcroppings that are on the walls that probably were places where things could be hung. Lanterns. There aren't any torch sconces, but there are small fork-shaped items that, pictures and whatnot could be hung on.
In the carpet, what kind of design is on the carpet, if any? Is it just a pattern, or?
It has almost like a paisley design on it, so it kind of looks halfway floral, and it's a pretty intricate design, but part of the rug is so degraded that you don't really get a whole picture of it. But it's not a tapestry type rug that had an image on it depicting anything of importance.
Slide the rug back with my feet, just to see if it was hiding a trapdoor or anything.
So the rug partially goes under the bed as well. Are you going to try to pull the whole thing back, or you're just going to do one corner?
Yeah, I don't care. Pull it back.
Okay. You yank on the rug a couple of times and pull it out from under the bed, and there does indeed appear to be a trapdoor of some sort under that bed.
Trapdoor.
That's fine.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I heard the word trap, so I'm going to go check it for traps.
So Zeno is suspecting that something might be hiding in the armoire, because this just all seems too easy. So he's going to open the armoire door and kind of stand off to the side as he opens it.
What was wrong with easy? I was liking easy.
Apparently Zeno also doesn't know his own strength, because as he opens it, he rips the door off of the armoire.
That's my job.
And it's
all right. Sorry, I got excited.
It's very similar to what Rekmit saw in the other room. There's some makeshift hangers. There were obviously at one point some clothing items hung up in here. Nothing is left. It's all been taken.
And just tapping to see if there's any kind of false bottom on the bottom of the armoire. Looking behind it to see if there might be anything on the wall behind it.
Nope, and as you move it, it kind of gives way, and one of the legs kind of comes loose, and you're kind of balancing it on 3 legs now so that it doesn't fall all the way over. But it doesn't appear that there's any secret compartments or anything hidden behind it.
I will let it crash to the ground.
Okay.
Rekmit's going to do the same thing. Last room, I go around and check the walls, see if there's anything odd or like any passages or hidden compartments.
Mm-hmm. Not that you can tell. Not that you notice. And you're quite sure you would notice. The craftsmanship, as I said, in this place is not that great. So if there was a place where something was hidden or had to be more well crafted to remain concealed, you would probably see it.
You say the trapdoor was under the bed?
It's under the bed, yeah.
Who wants to break the bed?
Nat 1 to check it for traps, so I'm supremely confident there's no traps, guys.
You are absolutely positive there are no traps.
So I guess we'll move the bed over a little bit so we can fully open the trapdoor. Is it just a ring that we're going to pull up?
Yes, there is a lock there, though.
Well, I'll give that one a go then.
Okay.
Slightly better. Let's see. 9 goes to 10. I think it's a dex skill, right?
It is Dex.
So
Yes.
it does go to 11 with the dex modifier.
Okay. You don't manage to pick the lock, but you manage to break the lock. So part of your lock-picking tools are stuck in this degraded lock, which is now stuck in the wood of the door, which still will not pull open.
Ah, okay.
Can our dwarf do something to that lock to get the picks out?
Break the lock, like physically break it.
Or wreck the lock?
Okay, I gotta check out something here real quick.
The door, the trap door, is actually wooden, and it's pretty degraded, just like most of the other wood in here. So probably any one of you could, if you kicked hard enough or punched hard enough,
I was just going to say, I'm going to walk up and say, watch this. I'll use my technical skills, rub my hands together, I'll stomp on it, I'll tap it with my foot and smash the door.
Okay. You smash the door in, and it appears that there is a small empty space under what used to be the door. It's only about 3 feet deep.
So we'll clear the debris of the door out of the hole and see if there's anything else in there.
Do you want to give me a dexterity saving throw?
Sure. If I have to.
You have to.
That is going to be a 19 on the dice,
Okay.
with a +1 bonus, so dirty 20, and that's prime.
Okay. As you start to reach your hand in there to try to clean out the debris that Rekmit caused when he stomped on the thing, out of the corner of your eye, you see the slightest, tiniest bit of movement, and you pull your hand back. And as you do so, a blade sweeps across the opening and goes into the other side. It came out from the bottom, or from the sort of, I guess it would be the eastern side, and it swept over to the northern side of the opening and went into...
Well, I wouldn't have been much of a monk with one hand, so thankful I missed that.
Leaning over him, it's like, that was a close one.
And Zeno is now going to step away from the hole and let more qualified people take a look at it.
So, Burt, that was the trap that you missed with your natural 1.
Gotcha.
But now that you know it's there, you can probably look around for the mechanism and attempt to disarm it.
Try and disable it, yeah.
And that would be a dex check.
Okay, so 17 on the die goes to, I guess, 19, right? 1 for dex, 1 for level.
Or actually, it's an int check, sorry.
Okay, so 18 on the die then, or 18 total.
Yeah, so you easily figure out the mechanism and remove the cable that keeps that thing taut and allows it to swing out, so that now it is no longer going to try to cut someone's fingers off.
All right, I think it's safe now.
Looking down into the bottom of the 3-foot little opening, it doesn't look like there's anything in there, but you notice that the bottom of it is wooden, not stone.
That would be odd. What's the condition of the wood?
It's about the same as what the actual top of the trapdoor was.
Looks like it should be fairly easy to break.
Do you want to maybe do it with your 10-foot pole, just to be safe?
Yeah. Well, actually, just going to take my staff and
That works.
whack it. Take my staff and kind of stamp down on the
Okay.
wood.
Yeah, you easily break the degraded wood, and you see that there is a silk sack down there at the bottom.
All right. I'll attempt to grab it with my staff and pull it up.
Okay. You can probably pretty easily do so. I mean, there's nothing breathing down your neck, so you can take your time and hook it around.
And then pull it up and put it on the floor between us. How big is the bag?
It's relatively small. It's slightly larger than something like a belt pouch. It's perhaps the size of a dice bag, like this.
Yes. All right. Was there jangling or anything as I pulled it up?
You did hear the clinking of what sounded like glass.
Right. So I'll put it down on the ground and I'll carefully open it and tip it.
You see 3 small vials. Each one has a tiny piece of wire around it with a little label.
Oh, nice.
One of the labels has a picture of, it looks like a very sharp tooth with maybe drool or something dripping off of it. One of the pictures has it looks like a flask of oil. And one of the pictures has what looks like almost a slug or something on it, but it's red. Inside, the vials are actually clear. Inside, the one with the picture of a red slug on the tag looks relatively thick, like oil, and it's a slightly reddish-brownish color. The one with the picture of a flask of oil literally looks like a sort of golden oil. It's that thick, almost like a 10W30 oil. And the one with the sharp tooth with the drool dripping off of it is slightly green.
And the first one was slightly red, pinkish, you said?
Reddish brown, almost like a rust color.
Anybody work anything out on these? Leanise looks around.
Nope.
I have no training in potions.
Checking up on what I can do. I know at some point I know about these things, but I don't know if I do it yet.
Yeah, so you have an alchemy skill that lets you, at first level, make a charisma check to mend small objects or identify plants and their properties. I don't know.
I don't think I can figure out potions at this point.
Yeah, I think that's 4th level or 6th level or something like that.
Are we wanting to figure out what they are right now? I mean, I can dip my finger in and give it a taste.
Well, my best guess is the greenish one with the fangs and stuff is probably a poison.
Yeah.
The other two, no clue.
What was the red potion again?
It
There's a
looked
red
like it
slug.
had like a slug on it or something, but it was red.
Yeah.
The label.
It wouldn't be a potion of slow. Who would drink a potion of slow?
Could be.
potion of
Well,
slug.
perhaps we might find some slugs on a lower level that are toxic, and this is the tonic to cure that poison. But I will head up to the north door if
Okay.
everyone else is ready to go.
It's probably a potion of slow time. That's what it is. Coming from the cleric. It will slow down time, making us faster. Got it.
So that north door.
Well, I think we should bring the potions with us.
Oh, yeah.
So.
For sure.
That's what happens when you have more wisdom than intelligence. Come up with a great theory that cannot be supported by anything.
So who's going to that north door?
Zeno's going to head up there, but I'm not going to mess around with it until everybody else gets there.
Yep, Burt will head
I'm
up.
not afraid of the north door. I'll go through the north door. Grab
Okay.
hold of it.
Okay.
Nothing to fear. That's the way Durendale taught us.
So you go through the north door and you find a room that is just like the south room. It is 30 by 30. There is a bed, a small couch, a chair, and a desk in there.
This is a strange house.
Yeah.
All very dusty.
All very dusty. There is also a carpet on the floor in this room. It looks exactly the same as the carpet in the last room, including its amount of degradation. It is very crumbly.
I do the same thing with the carpet. Throw it back, see what's around, see if the bed moves.
The bed will move if you try to move it. There doesn't appear to be a trapdoor in this room, though.
Hey guys, no trapdoor.
Trapdoor. Anything, and nothing under the bed.
Nothing under the bed.
I've learned my lesson with the armoire, so I'm going to let Rekmit do his magic in here. I will say, Rekmit, you may want to take caution. There may be precious documents in the desk.
I go over and check the desk and see if it falls apart.
The desk is pretty degraded, but if you open the center drawer, you see a large book in the drawer.
Uh-huh.
What? I'll pick the book up. Pick it up.
There's no label on the cover. The cover is a brown leather. It's relatively generic looking. Could be livestock hide or, any general deer hide or something like that. There doesn't appear to be anything special about it, at least from the outside.
I'll flip it open.
You immediately recognize that some of the things being talked about in this book are alchemical in nature. So the few pages that you flip through, it talks about the use of certain gems and minerals as their powers would apply to certain alchemical concoctions and some arcane magical component.
Well, now this is a very interesting book.
And
like that.
at the back of the book, you see several pages which look like they have arcane scribblings on them.
I'll take that and show that to his name, Leanise. See if she recognizes any of those symbols.
Ah, this indeed does look like a arcane magic. I do have read magic that I can use. I will. How many pages have got arcane symbols on them?
Probably about 15.
Okay.
So quite a few. It's not entirely... The majority of the book is discussions on different components and gems and alchemical recipes, but the last 15 pages are written with special ink that has arcane sigils and all that stuff.
Yep. I will cast read magic.
All right. You immediately can tell that the last 15 pages of the book contain 3 spells. They contain an identify spell, a mirror image spell, and an invisibility sphere spell.
Hey, this is a useful book. Actually has 3 spells that I don't know.
That is outstanding. And it's got a lot of interesting alchemical knowledge in the front of it that I like.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
You got
nice side.
more than I need. I can read that stuff later.
Yeah, I can. So, Sam, what's your rules about copying spells?
So if you take the time, it'll take you, I think, an hour per level per spell to scribe them, and because as you're scribing them into your spell book, you're translating any, because the spell itself, when a wizard writes it into their spell book, they're also writing notes about, and now you do this gesture, and you use, and so you would actually be translating not only the arcane words and how to utilize that magic, but also how you yourself would do the gestures and whatnot, which means you're kind of slightly testing those as you go. So it takes a bit of time. So it's minimum of an hour per spell level.
Okay. All right.
And of course, as the spells are higher level, then it actually ends up taking longer. But but for these, it's about an hour per spell level.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And then I will. Once you take it and you can read, and at some point I'll scribe these into mine.
You have a homework to do tonight.
Yes, indeed.
Who knew dungeon crawling would come with homework?
Yeah, really, man.
All right, Leanise, do you want to hold the book, or you want me to throw it in my backpack?
I can hold it. That's fine.
That works.
No,
All right, should we head back to the main room then?
there's no other doors. There's no other way out of here, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and Rekmit will do another, once around the room, see if there's anything, which I suspect there isn't. So when we head back to the main entry room, I'll go to the south door and open that one.
Okay. The passageway goes south about 30 feet, and then there's a huge cave-in. There are several really enormous boulders that have caved in and blocked that passageway after about the first 30 feet. You see a big crack in the ceiling.
I thought Rekmit just kind of take a quick look at it to see if it's dangerous to even go in the hallway for us, and if so, I'll just tell everyone I'd only go down there right now.
It looks pretty dangerous. It actually looks to you like whatever they built to the south, they didn't make sure that the stone was stable as they dug through it, and it collapsed. The collapse is a natural collapse. It does not look like a trap. It doesn't look like the hallway was trapped and someone sprung the trap. It looks like it was a built structure and then it collapsed.
You needed to brace it and didn't.
Correct.
Okay, well, guys, this hallway to me looks very unstable. I wouldn't even suggest us going and checking out if there's a passage through there at this time.
Sounds good, because we've run out of map.
East door. I'll go up to that one.
Again, you get a 20-foot hallway that ends in a door.
I believe that means our locksmith is up.
Yep, that looks like me. I'll give it a go. Not great. 7 goes to a 9.
Are you looking for traps or picking the lock?
Actually, I guess I'll check for traps first. So 7 goes to an 8 for checking for traps.
Okay, you do not notice any traps.
And then for the lock, 4 goes to a 6.
Lucky for you, the door was not actually locked.
Oh, nice.
So you can pretend like you picked the lock in no time flat.
Yeah, look at me go.
Look.
I got it, guys. Easy peasy.
Fake it till you make it.
The question is, do you open the door?
I'll look over to Rekmit and say, do you want to open the door?
I am the official door opener, so sure.
You open the door and you see a 20 by 30 foot room with the long edge going north-south. And in the center of the room is a small rectangular wooden table. And it has a wicker basket sitting in the middle of the table. There is also a door directly across from you.
Who has a 10-foot pole?
Leanise does.
Leanise, hold this basket. I don't trust him.
So yeah, well, yeah, good thinking. So Leanise will go down and we'll hook the basket with the end of a 10-foot pole and see if she can lift it.
It's very heavy.
Ah.
Does it have like a top on it?
Nope.
Alright, I'll tap the floor around in front of me
Nothing.
before. Make sure that at least there's nothing obvious in terms of pit traps or anything.
So
Rekmit's
far,
gonna-
Push the basket off the table.
Well, hang on. I'm going to try something first. I've got a little bag of marbles. I'm going to take one of the marbles and try to see if I can throw it into it. See if anything happens.
roll me a dex check.
Oh. 12. It is not a primary.
Your marble bounces on the table and rolls off, bounces off, rolls onto the floor. But nothing else happens.
Well, I'll go with that next.
Alright. Checking the ceiling, making sure there's nothing up there that I can see.
Not that you see, nothing particularly troublesome.
I will walk up to the desk, up to the table,
Okay.
and peer at the basket.
It has 5 smooth oval rocks in it.
Yeah.
Slightly larger than the size of your fist.
She'll turn back. I know why I can't lift it now. It's got 5 rocks in it.
First thing Rekmit's going to do is go to retrieve his marble.
Okay. As Leanise takes a look at the rocks inside, you also see that there is a slip of parchment at the bottom of the basket.
Hey, Rekmit, anything special about these rocks?
Okay, I'll look into the basket. Do I see anything on them? Do any markings on the rocks?
There are no markings, but you can see that they were lovingly polished, and they are all exactly the same size, and you suspect they are all exactly the same weight.
Interesting. I'll try and grab the basket and see if the basket will move at all.
Yeah, it moves.
Okay. It's not attached. Fine. I will reach in and... Is the parchment underneath one of the rocks, or is it on top of them? Or...
It's underneath, and a little corner of it's sticking out.
Okay. I will pick up the rock that's on top, reach in and try to pick up one of the rocks that's on top of that piece of parchment.
Sure, you pick up the rock. It's quite hefty, but it's not, abnormally heavy. It's just a nice, hard rock.
Nothing on the underside?
Nope.
All right, set that on the table. Can I get the parchment, or I got to pull another rock out? Someone really loved these rocks.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time polishing these rocks.
So are you taking the parchment, or are you taking the rock out?
I'll take one rock. I'll take that first rock out, set it on the table,
Okay.
and then try to see if I can get the parchment out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about the size of a quarter of a piece of paper. So it's, 3 inches by 3 inches, maybe. Maybe 2 inches by 2 inches. And it has a little phrase scribbled on it. It says... a rock for each of thee, but in the basket one remains. A rock for each of thee, but in the basket one remains.
How does somebody know how many there are? How many of us there are? Well, if we each took a rock, then there would be none in the basket.
Yes.
Kind of curious what happens when we take them all out.
I am also curious. I will take my rock.
Okay.
Burt will take a rock.
I would suggest you probably want to leave one in there. It sounds like an interesting riddle.
Yeah. But I'm
Two left.
wondering if one of us ends up in the basket.
It does not necessarily say it has to be a rock in the basket.
No.
How big is this wicker basket?
It's probably 1.5 feet long. It's kind of oval shaped, and it's probably 1 foot tall. Has a shallow handle on it on the top.
So again, the rocks are just what, a smooth black rock, or
They
no
look
symbols, no.
Nope, no symbols. They look like granite, actually, but yeah, no symbols. Actually, the basket's probably taller because you had to actually look down in it to see the rocks rather than seeing them. And they're pretty large. They're probably 1.5 fists size.
Well, I'm okay not taking a rock, so we can leave one in there.
So there's a rock for each of the, but in the basket one remains. That was what it said?
Yep.
Well, there's 2 left in there right now. Zeno is going to listen to the east door.
Go ahead and roll a wisdom check.
It's going to be a 16 total, and that's prime.
You hear what sounds like something shuffling, like feet shuffling, very slowly.
So I'm gonna look back at the party and be like, make a little tisk sound, and I'm gonna be like, give them the little movement sign with my fingers, and point to the door.
I slowly pull the bastard sword from the sheath and start to fix my shield.
Okay.
Leanise will pick up a rock.
Okay.
There's one rock left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look at Burt and give him the eyes and point to the door to see if he wants to check it.
Yeah, I'll come over and check it. I'll check it for traps first here.
Okay. Go ahead and roll the wisdom check. Or, yeah, intelligence check. I keep saying wisdom.
So 12 goes to a 13.
You do not find any traps.
And then does it seem like the door is locked?
The door seems unlocked. Like if you slightly wiggle the handle, it doesn't seem like it's catching on anything.
All right, I'm just gonna give a thumbs up and then point over either to Jake or Rekmit.
Looking at my comrades and making sure they're armed and ready, I'm going to give the thumbs up, and we need some action, and we need to banish any unholy creatures in here. Perhaps whoever's in there can tell us more about the rocks. I'm going to open the door and put my back against the wall so whatever's in there doesn't see me.
You see...
Does the door open in or out?
It opens out.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to pull it open and then be against the wall in the room with the table.
Okay.
Jake will be standing there ready to receive any damage that should be brought on to him.
Leanise will have it about ready.
Accept his fate.
So the room is a 50 by 30 room, and the long end is east-west. There are 4 pillars in the room, and between the 2 far pillars, there is a stone chair that looks a little bit like a throne. There are dust and cobwebs draping over all the areas in this room, including the zombie that is sitting on the throne.
Wonderful.
And as the door opens, it kind of lifts its head.
Oh, yeah. We go.
And what's the orientation of the pillars?
The pillars are... here, let me... I'll put a dot here where the pillars are. Yep, exactly. There, and about 10 feet south of it, and then about right here. Whoops. Oh. How do I... Yeah. Well, I messed that one up. Let me erase that one.
Hit Control Z. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I took it away. But and then there's a fourth
I'll
one
pop it in there for you.
above that.
Nice.
The ceiling in this room is 20 feet high, which is in contrast to the other areas, which were, most of them were 10 feet high, except for the room with all the plants. And the pillars go all the way, they're about a foot and a half in diameter, and they go all the way up to the top. The zombie, other than putting its head up to look at the door, has not moved.
Are we ready to do this? I'm
Try
ready.
talking to him.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, or we could take the other rock and see if he stands up.
Mm-hmm. True.
Ooh, that's a good thought.
That'll be an interesting
Or
conversation.
hit him with the rock.
Yeah.
Perhaps Jake is the most qualified to talk to the undead.
Yes, Nick is the most qualified to talk to the zombie undead. Jake will twirl his blade a little bit and start walking down the hallway into that room.
Okay, as Jake walks beyond the door threshold and into the room proper, 4 zombies step out from behind, one from behind each column, and the zombie that was on the throne stands up and points at Jake. And then we roll initiative.
I think they noticed you.
And we decided at the end of last game that we would do side initiatives, so pick one of you to roll initiative, and then I will roll for the zombies.
See, I think Jake does it not.
So let's start at the top and go with Rekmit.
There you go.
I rolled a 4.
So did I.
Are we rolling a D6 or a D10?
D10. Roll again for the tie. I rolled a 2.
Yeah, another 2.
Okay. I rolled a 1.
This time I got.
You got this.
Holy cow. This die sucks. I'm going to put that back. Okay. All right. So, what would you like to do? You want initiative. You get to plan this. Jake is now standing just beyond the doorway, and the 4 zombies stepped out from behind the pillars. So they're kind of in the middle of the room. So if you're standing in the smaller room and looking, you basically see 4 zombies forming a kind of hallway leading to the main zombie that was standing or sitting on the throne.
5 zombies, 5 stones.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How do we want to do this? Just declarations or...
You can basically talk amongst yourselves and decide what you want to do and who should go first. If there's anything.
So do we want to try putting all the stones back in the basket and seeing if that suspends their animation at all? Or I don't know. That was an idea. Or we can just... Jake, are you able to turn these creatures?
I might be able to turn them. Might be able to do that. Yep.
Yeah, you can try
I
to
was
turn them.
thinking about
I mean, the room is full of cobwebs. I'm assuming these zombies are pretty dry. I can try to light one on fire with my torch.
I will attempt to turn them.
Okay, so that's a wisdom check.
And Leanise will be ready with a bow to shoot if something goes wrong.
Zeno is going to put his rock back in the basket and then enter in behind Jake and strike at the one at the left north pillar.
Okay.
Do we want to pull them into the room we're in, or do we want to go in there and fight them?
I think either way works. We just don't want to get caught up in the doorway. So I think we need to either all go in or all back out.
All right, yeah, so I'll head in and smack that zombie at the top left pillar.
So the question is, do you want Jake to try to turn them first?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
For sure.
Jake, roll that wisdom check.
17 on the die.
Okay, and then roll a
With a-
d12 and add your charisma modifier and tell me what the total is.
I rolled an 11 on the die.
Okay.
No charisma mod.
Okay, so you want to describe what you use to try to turn them? Do you have a holy symbol that you're wielding?
I do. and I will call down the power of Durendale, the pure flame of Durendale. That is. Burn into their hearts and make them flee away from me.
They do flee. They run to the back of the room as far away as they can get from you, and they try to sort of huddle down behind the throne.
Well, heroes, my job is done for the day. I'm off to save someone else.
He leaves.
All done.
However, the one that was sitting on the throne is still standing up, pointing at Jake. So, there is that.
He just didn't get the memo.
So now Zeno is going to enter the room, but he's going to position himself behind the top left pillar,
Okay.
so that the zombie sitting on the throne cannot see him.
Okay.
I'm going to have the pillar between me and it.
Okay. What's everyone else
After
doing?
I put my rock back in the basket.
Got it.
Burt will go ahead and do the same thing, but with the lower pillar, so the pillar to the south.
Okay. Did you put your rock back in the basket?
No, Burt's gonna hold on to his rock.
Okay. Leanise?
Is tempted to pull both the rocks out. But she will actually fire her bow.
Okay. At which one?
At the one on the throne.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an attack roll.
That's a 4, so yep. That's a grand total of 3. Grand total of 7, sorry.
That does not hit.
Yeah. That's expected that.
Rekmit?
I'm just going to go up behind Jake. Be ready to put a little mark on him if I need to. A rune mark.
Standard plan. Standard plan.
Okay.
Protect from the rear.
The 4 zombies remain huddled behind the throne, and the one that's standing is simply standing there pointing.
He needs to be looking like it's the rocks. Going to pull the 2 out.
I'm simply going to maintain the turning it just as a role-playing aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Not to break anything.
Okay.
So
Is Leanise
So
going to
Zeno
take
is
the
gonna-
2? What's Zeno doing?
Zeno's going to move 20 feet, position himself behind the next closest pillar,
Okay.
have the pillar between him and the zombie on the throne.
Okay. Done.
Burt will go ahead and shadow him along the southern pillar as well.
Okay. Done.
Denise is actually going to pull out one of the rocks. There's 2 rocks in the basket right now. She's going to pull one out.
Okay. Done.
And she's watching the one that is on the throne. Does he do anything?
No response. No change.
Well,
It's still pointing.
Well,
Is it pointing at Jake?
It's still pointing at Jake, yeah. I mean, it's pointing toward the door.
she'll pull the last one out and step aside.
No change.
Okay. All right.
That's
Okay.
good.
All right. She'll shout out what she's done so everybody knows.
Rekmit, any change in plan? You muted.
Yeah.
You're right. I'll go up behind the halfling.
Okay. Done. No change in the zombies.
All right, Burt will kind of look out at Zeno and kind of do like a countdown, like 3, 2, 1. Kind of do a nod, and then on 1, I'll rush him.
Get her!
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this zombie is pointing menacingly at us. Definitely in a threatening manner. It needs to be put down.
Okay.
Technically, we don't know that for certain, but hey, whatever. Just keep pointing at us. We don't know that until Jake moves out of the line of the finger.
So who's going to take the first hit or the first attempt at attack?
Zeno is going to run up and try to strike it with a stunning blow.
Okay.
The stun attack. So that is going to be a... Oh, that's going to be a 16 on the dice.
Okay.
Well, 14 on the dice. 16 total.
That
and
hits.
Does that?
Yeah.
So that is going to
roll
be.
a D4.
It's going to be 6 points of damage.
Okay.
And it is stunned for. Let's see, where is it? Con save or target is stunned for 1d4 rounds.
Okay. So go ahead and roll that D4. Yeah, it failed miserably.
That's 2 rounds.
Okay.
And it says it's unable to act. Target takes normal damage.
Tried binding it. Shouts down the corridor, or down the room.
It doesn't seem to change its demeanor at all. It's still pointing, and it's still standing.
Is it frozen, more or less?
I mean,
Or is it-
Zeno...
Of course it's frozen. I have stunned it with
It
my
is now.
strike.
I mean, Zeno hit it. It's not like a paralyzed statue or something, right? It felt like a zombie when he hit it, so... but
I've
it's
struck
not...
the pressure point in the zombie's chest.
Nice.
It's temporarily paralyzed.
Who wants to go next?
Burt will take a swing at it.
Go ahead and roll me an attack roll.
It's a 10 on the die. And I think that's just a 10 overall. So yeah, 10.
That is a miss.
So Samuel, since we're attacking from opposite sides, is there flank rules or bonuses or anything?
Not at this point, no. It's stunned, so... I can't... Let me remember here. Not actually
Plus
sure
4 to hit.
if you're able to stun as an undead creature, but...
Right.
So to get any kind of bonus, we would have to attack it from behind, right?
Yeah, I know if I attack from
Correct.
behind, I get a pretty major bonus for being a rogue. So I'll definitely try and circle around behind it for next time.
I think...
Yeah, well, I mean, it's stood up. You can sit on the throne and stab it in the back.
Leap up on the throne and just go like...
You probably can do that, actually. Although, you know, the fact that it's stunned and cannot take action means that you probably did hit it. So how much damage does the rogue do on that attack?
5 total.
That zombie crumbles and starts falling away. The arm is still pointing, but basically the rest of the body falls down and the arm falls down, but the arm still maintains that pointing gesture. And there's a big plume of dust that issues up as the zombie collapses down.
But the arm didn't crumble?
Nope, it just fell down. And so anybody standing near that plume of dust needs to make me a Constitution saving throw.
Not it.
Yeah, so that's going to be me. Do I get to use my Iron Body bonus on that
Yes.
at all?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool. Nice ability.
I got an 8 total.
I got 2 total.
Burt got a what?
A 2.
A 2. Okay. You both accidentally inhale some of the dusty, weird particles, and it makes you cough. You're not feeling so good right now. You feel a little not so great. But then you notice also that the 4 zombies that were cowering behind the throne, they also crumble away.
That is the power of Durendale, right there.
So, is the only thing remaining of the main zombie an arm? Everything else is dust?
The arm is it, yep.
Okay.
Most powerful cleric in the world.
Nice.
I beat this game.
I consider this might have been some kind of trap. This has been too easy as they're about to come and smack us.
Jake, I've inhaled some of the bodily emanations from the zombie crumbling to dust. Do you know anything about disease or anything of this nature?
Yes, you're doing it now.
Being the wise medic cleric that I am, I pound him on the back a few times to try to get it out. And
Yeah. I'm gonna take a handful of water from my water skin and kind of inhale a little bit of water, try to clean out the nostrils.
that is a good idea right there. That is what you want to do. Yes.
Swoosh a little bit and spit.
Meanwhile, I'm going. Can I do a kind of a wisdom check on undead or something like DM Sam?
For
How to possibly cure him?
yeah, you can do a wisdom check.
In between hacking up a lung, Burt will also drink some water.
I'm good at this stuff. Not today. Not today.
What did you get?
I rolled an 8 on the die, plus 3. That's 11.
So
we could go into over the top your dying phase. You back to town. That's always an option. Oh my God! If the misdiagnosis. You're gonna die.
It's going to turn.
Do you have a dagger? Give me a dagger for Christ.
Been impregnated by zombie.
You're going to become a zombie.
you, when you look at you look at Rekmit, or not at Rekmit, at Zeno, and he looks like his skin on his face is a little more wrinkly than you remember seeing it. And he looks like he has like some kind of scaly like pieces of skin flaking off of his face that you don't remember seeing his face like that before.
I do the grab his head and twist it and try to get it into the light so that way I can see it a little bit better and pull it back the opposite way, and like this is not good. You got like a skin condition here. It's a scaly gloves. Does anyone have gloves? Gloves? Anyone?
Yes, as I leave the room.
Actually, I do have gloves.
You're behind me.
I look over at Burt. Is he similar?
He does look like he's starting to get some weird flaky stuff on his forehead.
I think we might need to go back to town and get some lotion and cream for on this. Not quite sure what's happening here. Does someone want to get the rest of that dust off? Or maybe a higher cleric will know what exactly that dust is. And for God's sakes, grab the arm too. I totally know. Totally.
I totally know what you're doing.
I'm a professional.
So, I mean, since Zeno is already infected, he'll pick up the arm and bring that with. Did we check the throne to see if it moves at all, or?
I don't think no one has
Burt-
checked anything in this room so far.
No, yeah.
Burt, you want to give it a gander?
Yeah, sure, he'll do his best. We got a 16 on the die, but also I'm coughing quite a lot, so that might affect it somewhere.
You don't find anything special about the throne chair.
It's just stone.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty ornate. It has some nice designs carved into it.
Are we still coughing at this point, or is it like subsided some?
You're not coughing anymore. You feel a little tiny bit nauseated, but other than that, your face itches.
I will be fine to continue.
Yep, I think we can probably keep going. No need to overreact here.
So, does Rekmit want to try to check out the walls or anything?
Yeah.
See if
Leanise will too.
From the other room, I'll open the door and go, have you gotten rid of the 2 new zombies yet?
it has subsided.
I determined
It's
it's only
safe to enter.
All right, then I will come in and I will go around the wall, check the pillars, but I won't go near Burt or Zeno.
Jake contemplates if he could have carried those 2 flasks of holy wood, and if he should have or not at this point.
So, Rekmit, give me a wisdom check.
Ooh.
And Zeno's gonna ask Leanise if he can have his stone back.
Oh, sure. And she hands it back. So we still have 1 in the basket, right?
I thought you took them all out.
No, you're right. I did.
Dude,
You're right. I did take them all out.
Yeah, rolled a 20.
You notice that the northeast pillar has some kind of anomaly with it.
Okay, I will search that more thoroughly then.
You find a small trapdoor that has a little compartment behind it. And inside that compartment is a small leather bag.
Remember the blade.
I will take my rapier and kind of stick it in the compartment and see if anything attacks the sword.
Nothing does.
All right, and I will use my rapier to shuffle it out and into my hand.
Okay.
I stick in my hand anymore. No boxes.
You hold in your hand a small leather bag that feels like it has some coins in it.
All right, then I will leave the room and go up to the table and empty it out.
Okay. There are about 23 gold pieces. There's an old copper ring. And there is a pendant with a... looks like a ram's head, but the skull part of what would be the ram's skull with the horns coming out, the skull part is emerald, and the horns are silver. And it's on a small silver chain necklace.
I do read magic. So I'm considered. So we had it was a ring. Did you say?
There's
on the
a copper ring,
Mm-hmm.
the emerald and silver ram's head pendant necklace,
Oh,
and
that's
23 gold pieces.
Okay. We've put everything we've found and on the table. So I'll put the potions on the table,
Okay.
and along with the stones in the basket. I think that covers everything we've found, right?
there was the garment.
well,
Sure.
And I'll put the gown and the slippers on, even though I think they're magical anyway. And
We
then
also have a malachite gemstone. We had 150 gold pieces of silver, or 150 pieces of silver. I don't know. I can't remember what that was, 150 gold pieces, but it's silver. 100, 200 gold pieces of gems that
Okay.
we pulled out of that field of whatever the heck it was, the scarecrow.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
So why don't we just put everything on the table, and I'll cast detect magic, and we'll just see if anything is magical. I'm pretty sure the gown and the slippers are, but
That's an excellent idea, sir. Or man. Keep forgetting you're female. All elves look the same.
So I think we're working on an idea where we need Rekmit to sit on the throne, the zombie throne.
I'm not sure.
I
that's
second
a good-
that.
You second that? Well, then I have to stay away.
We'll all do selfies, but you go first.
You might be bestowed with some great power.
Yeah.
Greater power. Not as great as Durendale, but a great power.
Okay, so you have so there's several things on the table. Okay. So go down the line and I'll tell you if the things that you're looking at are magical, giving off a magical aura.
Okay, so we've got the gown.
Definitely magical, but it's a relatively weak aura.
Okay, the slippers.
Same.
Okay. The eggs, or the stones, rather.
The stones are magical.
Okay. The basket is there.
Not magical.
Okay. I'm assuming the parchment's not, that's just a piece of paper.
Correct.
We've got the necklace.
Not
Ram's head
magical.
necklace. The ring.
Not magical.
We have a pile of gold and silver and a bunch of gemstones. I think that covers everything, right?
Yeah.
All except for the zombie arm. The zombie arm is also on the table.
Zombie arm. Yeah.
The zombie arm gives off a magical aura. None of the coins are magical. The gems that were pulled out of the soil are giving off a very, very weak magical signature.
Okay.
Oh, there's also,
And the 3 potions.
And
The
three
potions are magical.
They're all
there's
magical.
also the book that we got, the leather book with the 3 spells in it.
Oh,
and
definitely magical, yeah.
Yeah, that's magical. Yeah.
Didn't know if it would radiate as magical or if it's just, well, I guess it has magical script, so yeah.
Yep.
So that's kind of strange that the rocks and the gemstones that were buried are giving off a signature.
Did we identify what kind of magic they're giving off? Dictionary or
No, I could just tell.
I don't
that
know
it's
if
not-
he does that.
All detect magic does is give you a strength of aura.
Okay. Too many systems.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
but
That's
I have identified it.
that's why I looked it up. The book, of course, is giving off the strongest aura at this point.
Yeah. Mhm.
The gems that you pulled out of the soil are giving off probably the weakest. Second weakest would be the stones, and then the slippers and gown. They're all relatively weak, though. Nothing is super strong except that book.
Yeah.
So do we want to head back to town and resupply, or do we want to go deeper?
Well, how do you two feel, Burt and Zeno?
I feel okay. I feel like I could continue.
And I say this from as far away as I can be from them physically. Actually, Rekmit will go back into the throne room now, and I'll go check out the throne. I am not sitting in it, though.
The throne is probably the most well-constructed stone element you've seen in this building so far, except maybe the steps down. But otherwise, there's really nothing interesting about it, other than that it's very well constructed.
I'm going to go grab one of the magical rocks and put it on the throne.
Okay, nothing happens.
Do it. Sit on it.
All the power could be yours.
Or I believe in study and earning my abilities. Does the throne look like it was carved here, or was it look like it was actually moved here?
It looks like it was carved out of however they carved this room. It was not
Okay.
moved here. It looks like it's part of the floor.
Anything strange look about the seat or anything?
Nope.
All right, I'm gonna sit on it. Heck with it.
Yes.
The
I'm gonna pick the
power,
rock up.
the power of peer pressure.
Great Ape, I'll give you that 25 gold then.
Nothing happens.
Okay, I'll bring the rock back out.
Okay.
Uh-oh, another zombie. Zombie of Durendale.
So I guess we're going to continue to the stairs, right?
If you two feel okay with it, it's your, you guys the ones who got something.
She's keeping an eye on him.
Oh, nothing. I haven't. Nothing's affected me yet, except a little skin condition. But
Glitchy for now.
Do they look worse?
What are you doing with the rocks?
Interesting question. Back to the riddle. Rock for each of thee in the basket, one remains.
As a side note, I walk up to Rekmit and I give him a small wooden stake, like just in case, okay?
Do you have any holy water on you?
It was too heavy, so I literally left that back.
I really think we should splash on them. Does the old copper ring have any markings on it or anything?
It does not.
Well, I suggest we leave one rock in the basket for, I don't know, seeing it says that one needs to remain.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a rock.
But it also says one for each of us, so
Yeah, but that might not be due to us.
that's true.
Ah,
That could be because there were 5 individuals in that room. And I still think it's weird that its arm fell off, and it's like it's some kind of trap. I mean, I'm overly suspicious of everything. So, and I give a side-eye glance to Burt and Zeno.
We could try putting a rock on like each of the dead zombies.
They just went to dust.
well,
didn't
I
they?
think, yeah, they're dust. That's it.
well, dust now. Hmm.
Do we want to take the arm with us or put that in the basket?
Oh, how strong was the magic on the arm? I knew there was something missing.
It was relatively weak.
Okay.
You know, something had to animate the
Yeah.
zombies, so you would expect to find some sort of magical signature on any undead.
I'll inspect the arm then. Is there any runes on it or any glyphs?
Nope. It's just a couple pounds of rotting flesh on bone. Pointing still.
Hmm.
Is it pointing in any specific direction if we set it down? Does it rotate itself at all, or is it just still just pointing in wherever we put it?
Wherever you point the arm is where it's pointing at.
And when I say we, not me.
Just to be perfectly clear,
Just to be perfectly clear, I'm not touching rotting flesh. Or Burt or Zeno. Right, so what do we want to do? Want to leave the rocks, or leave a rock, or take them all and risk it?
Burt's gonna hold on to his rock.
Well,
I think we should take.
Rekmit's going to head back to the fountain and see if there's any water still in there now.
You taking
There-
your rock with you?
Yeah, are you taking a rock?
I wasn't planning on it.
Oh, okay.
I thought I want to leave one just in case, because these little rhymes and things can be weird. And I think-
Zeno, are Zeno taking a rock?
Zeno is going to take his rock. He's quite fond of it. It's a perfect weight and balance. He thinks he might be able to use it to smash somebody's head in.
I really suspect that arm was pointing at the rocks, or at least at the basket, not at us specifically.
Leanise, are you taking a rock?
Leanise will take a rock.
Okay. we'll wait till Jake gets back to see whether he took a rock. Rekmit goes to the pool. It is still draining, but very slowly. It's obvious to you that it's draining, but it still has water in it.
Okay, I'll search this whole room too to see if there's any hidden or odd construction points or anything, and the statue or what remains of it as well. Because I don't think I actually searched this whole room that last time we were here.
Yeah, nothing jumps out at you as unusual or specifically noteworthy.
Did you go ahead of us?
Yeah, he went by himself.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm ahead. I'm just putting a little distance between me and zombie dust.
So, I mean, I think if we go down the stairs, we'll pretty soon find out where that water is draining to.
Possibly.
Or we could smash the bottom of the fountain and just drop in surprise attack from above.
I got broken enough stuff today. Sure, I've met my quota.
Sam,
should we take a couple minute break real quick?
Yeah,
while,
let's take
Jake's gone?
let's take a 5 or 6 minute break. It'll let me get some tea, and then everybody can stretch and use the restroom and do whatever. Let me throw a "We'll be back soon" image on here. There we go.
in the Pools of Narrheit chat.
How about now? Yeah, somebody knocked out a chat. That's part of the problem. That's why the labels shifted up. So the thing is, if that person comes back, the labels will be wrong again. So I was hoping that he would come back and that would fix the label issue.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm here. I was just eating a little bit of dinner and didn't want you guys to have to watch me eat.
No, it's fine. It's okay.
I'm rude.
You can do that too.
Did that fix it?
That fixes it, yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine if it's shifted for a few minutes. The bigger problem was that we didn't have any audio. So here's what happened in the last 5 minutes of the stream. I heard it all. Yeah, no, but the audience didn't. So I'm gonna state what happened. So
got it.
They went down the stairs, and this room, at the end of the stairs, the passageway curved northward, which I didn't draw the map like that, but it curves northward. And then there are 2 alcoves, one to the west and one to the east, which both contain obsidian statues of human women, unclothed human women. And in the east statue, the eye sockets have malachite gemstones in them. In the western statue, the eye sockets have malachite gemstones. In the eastern statue, the eye sockets have blue jade gemstones. 20 more feet ahead, there's another alcove to the west and another alcove to the east. But in this time, the statues are human males, also unclothed. And also on the west, there's malachite gemstones in the eye sockets. And on the east, there are blue jade gemstones in the eye sockets. And these 4 statues are meant to represent great beauty in terms of males and females, right? So they are obviously, even if you're not a human, they obviously are meant to represent standards of beauty. Okay. Now on the northern alcove, there is another statue, and in this case, it is a tall waif-like elf wearing chainmail and a cloak and holding a straight-edged scythe. And instead of having malachite or blue jade gemstones in the eye sockets, the eyes have what look to be pearlescent stones of some sort in them. And now that Jake is back, so that's basically what happened when the audio was off. And so basically, carefully, they have just looked at these statues and really not done any major searching of anything. But Jake, before anybody searches anything, I would like you to make me a wisdom check.
Okay. So that'll be a 18 crime total.
How much?
18.
18? Okay. You recognize the elf in the northern statue. This elf with a straight-edged scythe is what's often used as the mortal representation of Narrheit on Aihrde.
I kind of put my arms out to the sides, I'm like, whoa, and try to get people to back up. And I explain that this is Narrheit.
Who's Narrheit?
I explain who Narrheit is.
Jake patiently explains that Narrheit is a god of chaos. He is a trickster god. He is his plans and schemes often lead to what mortals would consider malicious ends, but Narrheit considers his trickery to be a great deal of fun. And he is associated with evil a lot of times by the mortals, but of course doesn't really manifest evil in the way that a mortal would think of it, because of course he's a deity. He's actually one of the old gods, so he's been around since the creation of everything.
So not intentionally evil and things, but more just the chaos lends to destruction or whatever that.
Right. Yeah, mortals usually, he will pull a trick and trick one of his deific brothers or sisters into doing something that ends up damaging the Aihrde or damaging the humans or other demi-humans and whatnot that live there, and consider it a great sport to do that.
Is there any water in this room?
Nope. Completely
So
dry.
the water that's draining is not draining into here, so there's got to be some other kind of chamber to the southwest. I'm going to touch my stone to the chest of one of the female in the southwest.
You're gonna touch the stone
I'm just
from the other room?
Oh,
the stone from the basket. I'm going to touch it
Okay.
to the statue, see if that does anything.
We have 5 stones and 5 statues.
Yep, that's a good point.
Well, we have 4 stones here.
We have 4.
That is correct. One is still in the basket.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happens.
Okay.
Considering this is Narrheit, and what you've explained to me about Narrheit, this is... I don't know, man. I'm a bit concerned.
Is it a trick that we want to try to solve, or do we just want to leave it?
Hmm.
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is that it's interesting that we had such poor construction until we get to these stairs. And down here itself. So it's almost like a shrine to Narrheit.
I think a shrine of some kind.
But it's odd that this one specific area is done very well, whereas the rest was done horribly. It almost seemed like they attached the other stuff on afterwards and discovered it in some way. But still trying to suss out that darn note.
So if we think about this, really, everything down here is perfect. The statues are perfect. They're magnificent. Okay? What we know about Narrheit, as I explained so well, is that I think we have to be careful because these may be misrepresentation of Narrheit. Trickery in itself. That's what we need to be careful of. Deception from Narrheit. So, really, maybe we should just back out and leave this place alone. All right. I know it's unpopular, but
There are 10 gems here. Just saying.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I wonder if we start trying to pry the gems out of the statue. But
Okay, which statue would you like to pry
Well,
the gems out of?
I wasn't going to actually do it yet. I was just maybe bringing it up. Bring it up. The
See
question.
how quickly he got onto that. Please, pull out gems.
What I find interesting is we have a malachite gemstone, we have a blue jade gemstone, and we have a pearl.
Mhm.
The ruby is out of place. It's almost like there's a riddle to solve here.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's definitely something.
I'm thinking it's the...
there's really no riddle. It's just death. All it leads to is death.
Yeah, that's Theo and Burt. I'm wondering if we put the blue jade gemstone in between the two blue jadeite statues. One in between the two malachite statues, and the pearl in front of Narrheit.
That sounds like it's
What I
worth a try.
don't know is if the 5 stones have to do with this as well.
Wait, oh, so but there's a definite theme of 5 here, right? 5 stones, 5 statues, 5 gemstones.
5 zombies.
Zombies.
That's 2. 5 zombies. Zombies kind of arranged this way, right? 2, 2,
Yeah.
and 1.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, the arm. I wonder if the arm, if we bring
Yeah.
it over to the
We have
statue of, yeah.
I will pull the zombie arm out and give a little tickle to Rekmit's ear behind his neck as he's inspecting one of the statues with the pointing finger. And then I'm going to touch the finger to the center of the chest of the Narrheit statue.
What is Rekmit's response to being tickled with a zombie hand?
Exit away! Get away from me, you zombie!
Nothing happens when you touch the finger to the statue.
Do we want to try to chop the arm off and put the zombie arm on it? I don't know.
Wait. I can.
Go, no. No.
I will cast. I'll tell you what to stand back a little bit, and I will cast detect magic. 2, 2.
What are you casting?
Detect magic.
The zombie arm still gives off the faintest of signatures of magic. None of the statues give off a magical aura, but the wall behind the Narrheit statue has a faint magical aura coming from it.
The wall. You see Leanie's wall. It's like the wall. The wall is magical. Nothing else in here is.
I will point the zombie hand at the wall and see if it does anything. Open sesame.
Nothing happens.
Leanie's will go and inspect the wall.
Leanise
And Rekmit will go
easily
as well.
finds a secret door,
Aha.
Aha, there you
magically concealed.
Wow.
So there's an illusion of wall with a secret
not
door
really
behind it.
Okay. So the wall itself is the magic. It's the illusion.
Right.
That's all it is. Right. Unfortunately, I can't dispel the walls. You just have to trust me. There's a door.
All right, I believe you.
Is
Burt,
there a door or a wall? Or is there no wall at all?
There's a door behind this illusion of a wall.
Wait.
So I'm assuming I can put my hand through the wall and then feel the door.
Right.
Yeah. Does the illusion then go away? Now that I know it's not real.
For you, you can look beyond it. It's like one of those magic vision puzzles. You know, once you know what you're supposed to be seeing, it's a lot easier to make yourself see it, and you can ignore the kind of cruft around it. It's still there, though. It's almost like a permanent effect. The magic is still there. Just because you know that it's a magical effect doesn't make it actually go away. So everybody else still sees a wall until they can go touch it, and you open that secret door and see that there's an entryway beyond it. They're going to have a hard time. They just see you looking at a wall right now.
Okay, but then I put my hand in, and presumably they will see my hand go into a wall.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll do that.
I have one question.
Yes.
Should I go back and get that other stone or not, do you think?
Tempted to say we should get the other stone.
I think we left one in there this long. We might as well keep it there.
There's got to be a reason for those stones. They may not be attached to the zombies.
I mean, at one point we did pull all 5 stones.
And nothing happened, right?
Yeah, but that could have just been misdirection. This is for Narrheit, and it's all about trickery.
Yeah, true.
I'm going to go back, grab the stone.
You pick up just the stone, or do you take the whole basket?
You know what? I'll bring the basket with the stone in it.
Hey, there you
go. When Rekmit gets back to the room with the statues, he's carrying the basket. As soon as he walks into that room, he notices that the gem in the basket turns into a blue jade.
Ooh.
Oh, the stone?
Yeah, the stone in the basket turns into a blue jade.
So if we put one more stones back in the basket, Burt's going to go ahead and put a stone in the basket.
When you take your stone out, you notice that it has transformed into a malachite.
Right. So,
in fact, if you all look at your stones, there are 2 malachites, 2 blue jades, and a really large pearl. And now if you look at the statues, they just have carved eyes. They don't have gemstones in them. Except for the statue of Narrheit, which still has some sort of pearlescent carved element in the eye socket.
Are you guys happy now? You broke it? It's all broke?
Oh, it's the correct answer.
Whoever has the pearlescent one, see if touching it to the Narrheit statue does anything.
Who has the pearlescent one? Let's find out. So I know Rekmit doesn't, because Rekmit's turned to malachite. And Burt's turned to, I said,
Jade.
blue jade. So that means that Leanise, Zeno, or Jake, one of you has... Okay, so I'm going to roll a d6. 1, 2, it's Leanise. 3, 4, it's Zeno. 5, 6, it's Jake. 3, Zeno has the pearl.
I'll take a blue jade then, just because I like them.
Okay.
So you guys want me to do something with the pearl?
Touch it to the Narrheit statue, see if something happens.
Yep.
So the one that still has the pearlescent eyes.
I will touch the larger than fist-sized pearl to the chest of the Narrheit statue.
Can you make me a charisma saving throw, please?
I'm always making these saves.
You keep falling for them telling you to do stuff.
I do. Charisma is not going to be modded, so
you do.
Does Iron Body affect this save at all?
Yes, Iron Body will affect this save. Plus, you get an extra +2 to the roll.
So that's going to be a 10 total.
Okay. You all see Zeno walk up to the statue, and as soon as he touches the pearl to the statue, a fine mist of green fluidy substance comes out of the mouth of the statue, sprays all over his face, and he freezes.
Freezes like solid, or just freezes like paralyzed?
Freezes like you are paralyzed.
Green potion was mouth, tooth dripping. Maybe paralysis. Red blood. Flask of
So
oil.
green is often the color associated with Narrheit. Just so you know. So you might not necessarily make a connection between the green potion and the green jet of stuff coming out of a statue of Narrheit. And I mean, the connection might be coincidental, is what I'm saying.
Right. It might just be green because of Narrheit.
So, try to take him down to the floor. Is there any green goo around his face or anything like that, preventing him from breathing? Or
Nope, he's just paralyzed.
all right,
I mean,
well,
just paralyzed. He's in a bad way because he's paralyzed, but
right, but not.
But he's still flesh and blood, right?
he is, right. He is not petrified. Yes.
Right.
He did not turn to stone.
Well,
Okay. Let's look at those potions again and see. We have a red potion with the slug on.
so we have a red potion, a reddish-brown potion that's got the slug label. We've got an oily-looking potion that has a flask of oil type label, and then we have a slightly green potion that's got a tooth dripping label on it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So now the pearl. So he took this pearl and put it up against the chest, and then that's when it spewed out.
Mm-hmm.
Is there
Right.
room to go behind this statue? There obviously is because I was there, right?
Right.
I could get behind it. To
Mhm.
get... How far did that stream go out?
It only went right in front of the statue, so probably 5 feet
Okay.
in front
5
of the
feet?
statue.
Okay. All right. And the pearl is still in his hand. Can I get the pearl out?
He's holding it pretty tightly.
All right. Well, I don't know. These potions are kind of like, who knows what they are, but I'll go back. There's a door behind this wall. In fact, actually, I'm just going to go and open the door. I'm there anyway, so I'm going to open the door.
I think this is stage 2 of his zombification.
So the other issue is Zeno had the torch in his hand.
Oh.
So now he's kind of...
It's just a very heavy torch.
He's got a torch and the pearl, and he's able to move.
I'll,
Where's the zombie arm?
Say that again.
Where's the zombie arm that he had? That he tickled my ear with.
He either put it back in his bag or dropped it on the ground when he was busy doing other stuff.
Wait, we have another pearl. But, yeah. Does anybody else have a torch? If not, we'll have to dig one out of his backpack and get one.
I have a torch. I don't need it, but I have it.
Burt can go ahead and light up a torch. I got one. I'll light one up and carry it.
Okay.
I think we really need to wait for him to come to again. Hope.
Could
You
be
know.
a long time.
Because otherwise he's a liability to us. You know, trying to move a paralyzed guy around. You know, and you know, we're a person down. You know, I don't think we can really get him out if something happens. And I think we're low on torches. I don't have any.
No, actually, I don't have any.
I have 2.
So that's 2 hours.
And 3 more.
Okay. So it might be best, even though we have like 5 hours of light, maybe it's just best to, I think, leave the dungeon right now to, you know, 1, get rid of whatever zombie poison dust we have, and 2, you know, to get him up and walking around.
Let's give it a couple minutes, see if it comes around.
Yeah. Let's all watch him.
Flash some water on his face.
I did actually say that Leanise had opened the door behind.
Throw some dust and crumbs on his face.
So I'd already committed to doing that. But actually, I had done it.
So
I'm assuming the door just opened, right?
yeah, the door opened. What you see in the room, it's a circular room. And on the back wall, there are 2 hanging symbols of Narrheit. The symbol of Narrheit looks like 4 intertwined circles, and they look like they're made of gold. The shiny gold is reflecting off of the torchlight behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a small malachite altar on the ground under that. Next to it, it looks like a big pile of detritus, like old pieces of wood and some garbage, old like cotton it looks like, and a big pile of it, like just nasty, like rodent nest material.
Does it look like it wrote offerings that have just been here, just deteriorating over the years?
No, it looks like it is has been formed by something.
Yeah. I suspect. I'll look around. Do I see anything else in the room?
Not that you can see. You do see that there are a couple of things on top of the altar.
All right. You know what? I suspect there's something in that pile that might try to eat us. I'm going to explain. So you see Leanise kind of push forward, and her hand disappears further into the wall. She'll come back and step around and tell you, "Hey, there's a room in there." I'll explain. There's an altar. There's a couple of these symbols of Narrheit, and a pile of garbage that looked like a nest type thing. And you said it was pretty big, right?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Like 6 foot big or 3 foot big?
More like 3 foot big.
Okay. Oh, okay. It's not that big. Could be poisonous. Could be a slug.
Still haven't found the source of the water, though. I'm curious to see where that water is draining.
Yeah. I'm also wondering what the powers of that water. I don't have any spells left to cast Detect Magic on the water, which would have been a good one to do, I think. Maybe. I mean, we found it. We know how to get back here.
Yeah, we
could
could
go
just
back.
And camp out for a night, or even go all the way back to town.
Camp out, or go back, maybe see if we can... Well, it sounds like your zombie skin is just peeling, but paralysis might be more.
Yeah.
Hey, we know how to get back. I'll come back and I'll close the door for now, just in case anything is in there so it doesn't come out.
Okay.
And I can't tell, even with my elven eyesight and the kind of shadow of the light, I can't see what those are on the altar.
On the altar, it looks like there was just a little plate with probably some coins or something in it.
Okay.
Those would be the offerings, but it's not really clear what exactly is there.
Right. So I'll close the door and I'll come back, step behind.
Any change in Zeno's condition?
Nope. So the question is, do you want to carry him out? Or do you want to try to barricade yourselves in here and wait? Or what do you want to do?
Oh, well, we're going to stay in barricade. I don't suggest we do it in here. Pick one of the bedrooms.
Just head all the way out, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not that far from town, right? I mean, we could go back to town.
We're
It's the homestead.
half a mile from my homestead.
Yeah.
Or from my parents' homestead. We're not that far from town, a couple miles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it might be difficult getting him up the stairs because it's a spiral staircase. But I'm sure between us we could manage. He might have a few bruises by the time he gets to the top, but
And we'll have a few groups. I can guarantee it.
you can't throw him up the staircase.
Why not? Try again.
No, we'll be able to get him up.
Come on. So do we want to kind of? I mean, we know how to get here. We know how to get to this place. We know how to get to the secret room. And I'm also intrigued about the water. How about we head back, but maybe see what's happening in the pool room?
Yeah, see how much of it is drained.
Yeah. And did we?
There were a lot of gems and coins under that water, right?
Yeah, that's what I remember. That I was looking at my notes and stuff. I thought there were gems and stuff in the pool.
Right. You took out most of what was valuable in there.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
we got it.
because Rekmit actually crawled in there, right?
Oh, yeah. I
Oh,
was swamp diving.
No,
Did,
right.
so you went diving in the pool. Did you feel anything funny with obviously you got wet. Did you get any
Oh, that guy was protected from zombies. I'm pretty sure it was water of zombie protection.
The water's I like that one. We could market that. So how about we head back, see if we can cure this paralysis. We could rest. I can get some spells back. See if we can do because I do actually have identify now in the spell book.
Oh yeah, we can identify the potions and see if any of those might be.
Now I'm only level 1, so I can only identify one item at a time. So that could be quite draining. that would be like a 2-3 day process to do that.
So yeah, I think regardless, we want to head back to the homestead.
Yeah, the only problem we have is we haven't searched that room, so there's still something in there. Mm-hmm. And if there's any other access to any lower levels or anything, it'd probably be in that room because I haven't noticed anything else in the other rooms that I've searched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty poorly constructed. The only area that's been well constructed is, this whole area down here. I haven't looked in the room yet, so I don't know how that room is constructed, but I suspect it's probably similar.
The pool room, it was just a pool, right? There wasn't water coming in.
There was the statue.
Yeah.
And the pool. I don't think there was any water coming out of the statue.
Right. There was no, so... Okay. Oh, but a lot of the stuff looked like it'd been wet in here, right? So that's maybe just the point where it ends and leaves.
So there was a leak in the hallway on the other side of the pool room.
Yeah.
and it was creating a puddle on the floor, but it wasn't. Remember, Leanise actually had tried to discern if there was any connection between those two bodies of water, and did not find anything to connect them.
Is that puddle still there?
It is.
Oh, it is, because it's a drip from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yep. So I head back to the homestead? Is that the plan?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. You can easily make it back to the homestead. You do notice that the 4 Kuthis that were there that you put to sleep are no longer there.
Didn't we dispatch them?
Yep.
Oh, so the bodies are gone.
Something's eaten them.
The smelly, stinky bodies are gone.
Say that again?
The smelly, stinky bodies are...
Correct.
So whatever ate them or took them, it's a lot tougher than us.
Yeah.
Or just doesn't have a sense of smell.
Yeah, that too.
So you can make it back to the homestead with no problem. And Zeno will come out of his paralysis in 4 hours.
Wow.
So it was a very strong
Yeah, wow.
paralytic. Yeah.
I'm back. What happened? Did we win?
Bruised and battered all over.
Touching that gem to that statue was a bad idea. But you
That's how you
did
do
it.
it. Yeah. Next time, stand behind it.
At least now we can see if we can assess what our items are and maybe restock and resupply.
Yeah, so it's getting around time where we should end. So, yeah, let me know what you want to do. Are you going to go back to town and try to restock? And what are you going to restock? And are you going to try to sell your goods, or what are you planning on doing?
Right.
So I guess we need to go ahead.
Oh, so Leanise will scribe those new spells into her spell book, and then
Okay.
hand the book over, because it's all the to Rekmit, so he can study the alchemy stuff. I would then also like to do identify on the potions, but that's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take at least 2 days.
Well, I would say let's keep on the group going, and just kind of do that as we go. Because we want to go back and check that place out. I know we had some other rumors. I know of a few things around here.
yeah.
We want to go back and check out that Narrheit shrine room, I guess is what it would have been.
Oh, we do. Yeah, I just wanted to prepare for that.
Well, yeah, so I mean, I guess we would determine that the next time we start up in next week or the week after. But during the downtime of tonight and maybe one day, I'm gonna resupply my torches. I guess we need to figure out how much of a share everyone gets.
Yeah, assuming all the gems and stuff, we just sell. I mean, we just sell the everything we can and split the money, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Do we want to sell the gems that we found in the ground in the bags?
We probably want to, for right now, we probably want to keep the 5 gemstones and the 5 rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Blue jade, the pearlescent, or the pearl, and the other one, because they may
Yeah, I
be needed.
agree.
for that.
Oh no, they're all magical. Okay. Yeah, because I would like to identify those too at some point.
Yeah.
So once Zeno gets a good night's sleep, he's gonna make some inquiries around town on if there may be any kind of wizards in the area or alchemists.
Leanise looks hurt. What do you mean there are any wizards in the area?
Well, I mean, you're studying. So while you're studying, if there, somebody we could find that might be able to identify these potions.
Greta.
In request to your inquiry about a wizard, I do know that there is stuff up by the Foothold Mountains that if a wizard was going to hide out, could be. I know there's an old dwarven manor up there, as well as there's an abandoned monastery up there as well. Which I don't know if that, from a monk standpoint, would be of interest to you.
Oh, yes. Very
I
much
haven't
so.
actually been to them themselves. I've seen the area, but I haven't actually gone searching it. And I know we still had to go check. We wanted to go check out, I think, not Burt.
Oh, there's a lot for us to do, but I think we should investigate that room.
Yeah, you should go stone from theirs. But I know Jake also, I thought it was Jake, wanted to check, what was it? The Half Hill. Someone did. Okay.
Okay, so I'm trying to. Sorry, I was. I'm calculating your XP because now that you're back in civilization, I can calculate how much XP this stuff is worth. So the way that I do experience, you get experience for any creatures defeated. Obviously, you get experience for certain story points and creative role playing, and then you get experience for valuables. Magic items do not give you experience if you keep them. If you sell them, they give you experience for the value of the sell. Gems and gold give you experience whether you sell them or not. Okay, so having said that, in the first session, just as a, because we're basically going to end here for the evening, so let's talk about this. So for last session, here was the calculation. The ruby has a valuation of 100 gold. This is the stuff you pulled out of the dirt. The malachite is worth 50. The blue jade is worth 150. The emerald's worth 50, and the pearl is worth 100. So that total is 450. Plus, you found 150 gold worth of silver coins and about 200 gold pieces worth of gems. That's what was in the bottom of the pool. So that altogether is a loot total of 800 gold pieces worth. And for creatures, there was about 315 XP worth of creatures, plus some role-playing XP, which rounded out to about 100 each. That gives you 323 XP each for session 1. Okay. For session 2, you found the ram's head with the emerald body and the silver horns. That is worth 250 gold pieces. You found 23 gold pieces just in that bag. The copper ring is non-magical. It's worth about 5 gold. And so that total is 278. Plus the gems that transformed that were stones. Those are worth about 50 each, and there's 5 of them, so that's 250, bringing your total to 528, plus 140 for the 140 XP for the zombies. So 528 plus 140 plus about 50 each for role-playing, and you get... just to make sure my math is correct. You get 184 each, plus the 323. So your total XP for the past 2 sessions is 506.
507. Oh, was it 183? Sorry, I mistyped.
Yep.
Okay.
183 plus 323.
Yep. Cool.
And you have quite a bit of money now, so if you needed to purchase things, you could. Although, just as a word of caution, right, throwing around a lot of cash and showing a bunch of valuable gems might not exactly be the way that you wanna go. You might want to do it a bit a little more discreetly than simply, going and trying to trade in big fancy gems for gold at a store.
However, we all do split this up. I will advise everyone to be very discreet because it is still a small kind of town.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to upset the balance of the economy.
Actually,
Well,
if
perhaps what the
gold, we split the gold, what does that come to?
So the gold, the total gold was 23 plus 150. Everything else was in gems and jewelry.
George, you were muted, but you were saying something?
About going to the Temple of St. Luther to see if we can get the zombie dust removed. That might be a good move.
Okay.
Good call.
Yeah. So everyone's got 39
So
gold.
after...
Sorry, 34 gold and 6 silver.
After the a good night's sleep, does the zombie peeling skin go away, or is it still there?
It's actually gotten worse a little bit. It seems to be growing. The area that's a little crusty is kind of growing.
We'll put some homemade lard on it. And mix it in. Try to, lard works wonders on everything.
So I think Leanise can probably identify those potions. Was that something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, she's got 2 first-level spells, so she's going to scribe. That's why she needed some time, because she's going to scribe them in, so that's probably that night
Okay.
when we get back. And then she'll memorize 2 of them, so she can do 2 items. And if we stayed another day, and then she'd have to rest again, because it kind of, drains her.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so if we had 1 full day, she could do 2 of them, and then she'd do 1 more, and we could do it the next day.
Okay. I think that's reasonable, because I think if Jake is going to take Zeno and Burt over to the House of St. Luther, that's going to probably take one of the days, right?
Okay.
So let me tell you what those potions are, and then we'll talk about what happens at the House of St. Luther. The potions are the one with the fang and the dripping drool is a neutralized poison.
Ah.
The one with the flask of oil symbol on it is an oil of blessing. And the one with the red slug on it is actually a potion of tongues.
Ah. Does Oil of Blessing work like a bless spell?
Yes. And so if you go to the House of St. Luther and Jake presents Burt and Zeno as people in his care who need help, They have a priest that can cast some sort of healing or restoration spell, or can attempt to do a ritual to remove whatever it is that is afflicting them, remove disease, basically. For a donation, of course. So they're going to want some, quote, donation in return.
Zeno believes that'll be coin well spent, and I'm willing to make a donation to the church.
Okay, how much are you donating?
How much do I have? Leanise, how much do we have each for the money?
So we had 30, whatever you had before, at 34 gold and 6 silver. But if we knew you were going to do this, we would have probably effectively have that pooled amount of money, so 173 gold.
Let's see if I've got 50 total, a little more than 50 total myself. So let's see if 50 gold is a strong enough donation.
You also have the gems that you retrieved from the
Magical.
You have some non-magical gems as well, though, right?
Say that again?
Oh, yeah, we do have some non-magical gems, right?
You have some non-magical gems?
Yeah, you have the gems that you pulled out of the pool.
Missed those.
Ones I went swamp diving for.
Right, and that was about 200 gold pieces worth.
There you go. Make it easy. Give them,
Yeah, say, do you want to just maybe give them the gems and see if that covers
give them gems. See if
Yeah, give
Yeah,
them
that sounds
150.
good.
So you're not dropping too much in one time.
That sounds like a great idea.
Okay. They will take the bag of gems
there we
from
go.
the pool as your donation. And they will cast some healing magics on Burt and Zeno, and they tell you that you should rest for 3 days, and that at the end of 3 days, you should have no more scaly taint.
Zombie rot.
No more zombie rot. They do not refer to it as
I would like to describe the encounter with the zombies to them and tell them about the hand.
Okay.
Not pull it out, but just tell them about it and see if they have any thoughts.
Yeah, they tell you that recently there was a wizard in town who was caught digging up graves at the graveyard south of the Abbey of Elor, and that they suspect perhaps that person was learning how to somehow imbue their magics into the dead bodies, and perhaps that's what you encountered.
Mm-hmm.
They did run that person out of town. This was not very long ago, relatively speaking.
Do they recall a name for this wizard?
His name was Horace.
All right. And thanking them for the healing, I will say, great priests who have healed me of this affliction, might the bag of gems also purchase a bottle of holy water for my friend?
Holy water is a service that we reserve for those in dire need.
Of course.
We believe that you have been healed and the spirit of St. Luther is within you, and therefore holy water is not necessary for your continued survival and prosperity.
course. Thank you for your healing blessing.
But we do urge you to return if at any time you need more of the succor of St. Luther. He is always willing to assist those in great need. Jake, you happen to know that they sell those vials of holy water for a lot of money.
So if we're going to be hanging around for a few days while they rest, I can identify. So this is the first day. They've got to rest for 3. So that would be a total of 8 items. So I could do the gown, the slippers, and start working on the gems. What else do we have?
Zombie arm.
The zombie arm. Yeah, I think that's just. So the gems, the stones, but they turn into gems, right? So let's start with the gown and the slippers.
So the gown and the slippers are interesting. They don't appear to have... I mean, they had a relatively weak aura of magic, but when you identify them, you learn that anyone who wears only the gown and slippers when they lay down for their nightly rest will be fully rested in 3 hours.
That's very handy for a spellcaster.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So that means you might be able to even identify more if we have it.
Yeah, so but identify also kind of like drains me, so I've got to rest. But so that means that that's actually a point. So if I was to,
And you get to do what?
yeah, I can do a lot more identifying because I can rest if I'm fully rested with 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I would get all my constitution and stuff back from the identifier. All the effort would disappear.
Right. Now the thing is, it doesn't make you magically sleep and then suddenly return all of your abilities. You have to actually be tired to use it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right. So you would still have to have, a day of
Got it.
normal activity. It's just
Sure.
that once you donned the gown and went to sleep, in 3 hours, you're fully ready
Still
to-
useful
yeah.
because I could wear that and the but only this, right? So I'd have to
Right.
take my armor off, right? It's downside.
Right.
Okay. All right. Still useful.
It basically adds 5 hours to your day.
Yeah. So the gown and slippers, then what we had with the gems and the zombie sphere, zombie arm.
Yeah, so the gems are just simply the magic on them was cloaking them to make them seem like mere rocks, and then allowing them to be revealed as the actual gems.
So really, they are just truly gems.
They truly are just gems.
Okay. All right. So let everybody know these are just a pile of gems.
I mean, they are very nicely.
Sure.
They're pure gems. They're like very nicely done, and they're very large. So,
But there is not. But they are literally just gems.
correct.
How much was the pearl one worth?
The gems that were in the basket are all worth 50 gold. The pearl that was pulled out of the soil was worth 100.
And we kept all the gems that were from the soil and all the gems that were stones.
Correct.
We gave the gems that were in the pool to the priests.
Right.
Did we identify the zombie arm?
Not yet.
We would have done. Yep.
I mean, yeah, I just didn't tell you anything about it.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's just a zombie arm.
Yeah, it's just a zombie arm. It has a very long-lasting, whatever the necromantic energy that was imbued into it to reanimate that zombie, to make that person undead, is really still strongly attached to that arm.
Okay. Yep. So it's like, yeah, there's.
Well, it's perfect.
That's not.
So let's stop here and let's talk about the game. So we didn't have much fighting. If you had gone into the other room, or if you had actually fought the zombies instead of just turning them, we might have had more fighting. So I feel like we didn't actually resolve our side initiative question, because I'm not sure we have a fair representation of side initiative versus individual initiative. But I feel like the individual initiative was actually made for a smoother game session the first time. Because with side initiative, then it was kind of like, okay, well, gee, who's going to go first? Oh, I'm not sure. And It was sort of now we have to actually make decisions before we do anything, right? It felt like it slowed down the pace of what could have happened in that room. But that might just be me. I'm not sure. So what do y'all think?
So, just from the games I run individual initiative, but before you roll, you have to declare what you're doing.
Right.
Like, are you casting a spell? Are you moving? Are you whatever? But you don't have to name targets because obviously they can change in the course. But and I have to admit, it seems to run quite well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I run basic D&D in second edition, I always make the players declare actions before they go.
Because the problem with group initiative is, or you do the combination, right? Everybody declares what they do, and then you just do group initiative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But with what, 6 of us, 7 of us, if everybody's here, individual initiative is not really a big deal.
Right. Feels like it would keep.
And the only real changes each round.
Say that again.
The only real issue with it is keeping track of it due to the fact that it changes every round.
Yeah.
CNC. Like from a Runemark standpoint, I kind of like the individual because, in a way, I can tailor what I do. Right. Whether I put a shield on somebody or whatever, I can even do a side initiative too. It doesn't really matter to me.
Right.
But whatever makes it easier for you.
Yeah, I was going to say at the end.
We'll get better.
It's what's easiest.
Yeah, we'll be able to adapt to either one.
Yeah, so I think like if we want to run it like 1 or 2 more times with the initiative that we did today, if there's a room that has a specialty for a certain class, like obviously everybody's going to go after Jake for this one, so we should have just let Jake say what he was going to do, and then we do it after that. If there's something that's a trap, everybody let Burt go first, and then we mess around after that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It really goes back to the danger with the initiative is that this time I was lucky. We got lucky. We got the initiative, and I got the turn undead to work. Had we lost initiative, my guy would have been in that room, and he would have pulled on like 4, maybe 5 attacks, and then the cleric goes down. That's the danger with it, which is, it's a risk.
I'll keep you up.
We'll just hold you up. You'll be fine.
I'm your heel.
That's true as well.
I mean, I'd be willing to give it another go.
Yeah.
See if we can get into more combat, see how it goes.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I just think we do that initially. We just have to be more aggressive and quick about how we're going to do things and just interact together. It's a little tougher with us all online like this because you can't really talk as easily because we get talking over each other, but we'll figure it out whichever way you want to go with.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I certainly agree with that. I think there's something a little tiny bit lost with online in that you really can't talk over each other and have more than one conversation going because it drowns out because of the digital nature of it. If one person is talking, even if somebody else tries to say something, it either cuts them off or it cuts off the first person, or it makes for a very odd, we kind of have to get a groove down in terms of who's going to talk, and then the next person gets to talk, and then the next person. And that sometimes, at least at first when a group is together, doesn't lend itself to a lot of discussion otherwise. The one thing that I can say is if you want to chat in the game thread in Discord, you can actually text chat there if you wanted to talk about things that maybe didn't necessarily need to be said out loud, and if you were trying to make a decision or something like that. That's always a possibility.
It is. Tend to forget about that. But you're right.
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah, last session, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we need Alex to talk more. He's too quiet.
Yeah.
I know last session a couple of us talked at Discord, but this time we didn't. It's almost weird. I think it's cool to do it that way. It's just tough to kind of manage screens. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, or we could talk in the Twitch stream. Then the viewers can join in on the conversation.
That's
throw
true.
out ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I should have it. I'm lucky because I got 2 screens, but I've got the Owlbear, I've got Twitch and my notes in one screen, and then character sheet, and then Discord. But you don't need Discord to be shown, to be honest.
Yeah.
If we're going to start using, maybe we should chat in Twitch. Maybe that is the place we should do it, because you're right. Because it'd bring the viewers in too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of cool.
Hey, Samuel, so the temporary con damage, I'm going to assume it's going to go away after 3 days of rest?
Yes, that is gone.
And technically,
my skin is back to being beautiful.
Yes, back to extreme beautifulness.
You have very beautiful skin now, exactly.
if you let me know that you have con damage, I could probably shorten it up by a day. I have an ability, a rune that I can use to help you out.
I took 2 points from one from the scarecrow and one from the spear,
That's
I think.
right.
But I mean, I've got 3 days to rest, so.
Well, I could shorten that up by because I can transfer.
Well,
I
I have
think
to
1
rest
point of
3 days.
con from.
I have to rest for 3 days anyway because of the healing to get the zombie skin gone.
Just from an out of character, if you guys lose like some of those stats, let me know because I do have the ability to transfer a little bit. It's not so much healing; it's the ability to transfer hit points or attribute points from one person to another.
Mm-hmm.
So we could at least spread it out a little better if we need to.
But you then
Haven't used it yet because we haven't gotten to that.
Yeah. Is there?
So let's talk about.
Go ahead.
Do you want to talk about Owlbear for a minute?
Yeah, let's talk about.
One thing I don't like about Owlbear is that I can't move anything I've drawn.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I make a circle and want to move it to a different spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I have that problem too, which is why that the circle for the statue of Narrheit is not, in the center of that particular square that it's supposed to be in. Because
that's just my OCD. Like you can tell by the way I'm making the map. Like if it's off, my OCD will flare up, and I'll be like, no, I got to redo that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have that problem with it too. There are some other alternatives, but in general, they're a lot harder on the computers to load things and whatnot. Or they're more difficult to draw on. I don't know.
I was thinking was, what about the Shard tabletop? Since Trollord Games kind of has a partnership with them.
Yeah, I mean, I can look into it. The only issue I have is I got to make sure that I can stream with it, and it's not going to completely freeze up my computer. that's really the only issue I have. I don't really have a preference in terms of how to, how to do, I don't have a preference in terms of VTTs personally.
Right. Use Roll20 and for what we're doing.
Yeah, so the issue I have with Roll20 is it really is a giant resource hog. So if Shard Tabletop is... So the reason I like Owlbear is that it's not a huge resource hog. It's very smooth in terms of how my system can encode it and send it out to stream with. Roll20, in my experience, and I, whatever, but in my experience, Roll20 is really tough on my computer in terms of resources. Although with a very light system and not really using anything except a grid map, it might actually work. So
yeah, if you start putting big maps in there, absolutely, it gets to be a hog. But if you're just doing that, I'm intrigued now.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly not.
Yeah,
I'm certainly not going to put any giant maps, So.
We could try different ones through each of our gaming sessions and see which one works the best.
I have to admit,
do like trial by error.
The resource hog I've got right now is Discord. Because, we're running video. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. We're running the video, and I'm sharing my screen. Mm-hmm. And so it's sending it all out as one package, and it's really easy to set up, which is why I'm doing that on OBS. Oh, and Lord Gosumba just rated us. Thank you very much, sir. That's very nice of you. We're talking about which VTT would be the best in terms of the game that we're playing, since we're playing a very sort of low image in terms of there's no fancy maps. But I don't know. I could do something. We could try a different one each time if that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, Discord does get a bit choppy, and starts to be a resource hog after streaming for a while because I'm using the video with the shared screen. So
yeah. It's using like 40 plus, almost 50% plus of my CPU.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is too that we're streaming for like 4 hours. We're creating an enormous file here. Yeah. So if just one of us doesn't have something optimized, it's possible for Discord to start, being a little bit of a pill. So, so I'll look into different VTTs. I know there's a ton out there, and different whiteboard programs that might make it easy. So my other question was, is there something in it? Because I want to sort of focus on CNC for a second, and I refer to CNC as a real rules light system, but is there something in your character, either the class or the race, that you really, really like and you want to just, talk about why you like it in this system? Or is there something that you don't have yet, but you're going to get at 3rd or 4th level or something that you're really excited to use?
I love the fact I can play Elf as a class.
Mm-hmm.
Because I get the best of both worlds. I get magic and I get fighting abilities.
Right.
That's the one thing I missed before they brought out the expansion set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, for the monk, I chose the monk, because I love the old, Kung Fu Sundays, Samurai Sundays when I was a kid. And, he's got like Iron Fist and Stun Fist and, Fists of Fury. And I'm going to be making up all kinds of names for all my attacks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm really reliving the nostalgia of that. You know, he's got deflect arrows and iron body. You know, so that's like toad defense for me and mantis attack. I'm gonna be coming with all that stuff.
Nice. Yeah, the monk is one of those classes where people either think it's absolutely great and wonderful, or they really don't like it at all. And I've seen that in various different games where it's either the love it or hate it class. It seems like
it's got to be if they watched kung fu movies as a kid. I bet you.
Mm-hmm.
Ask anybody who hates it if they watch the old kung fu movies.
Yeah. So, how about Rekmit's Runemark abilities?
The one I'm trying to figure out is the rending. Because it seems almost like at first level it's almost useless, but it probably shouldn't be. So we'll have to figure that out. But the reason I kind of like the Runemark is when Eberron setting came out for 3.5 D&D, I really loved the Artificer class.
Mm-hmm.
And this seems almost like a bit of a kind of an Artificer where you just kind of enchant things, make potions. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is when you can actually start doing some of that kind of stuff should he survive long enough. Plus, it's kind of cool to play the whole looking for the creation rune stuff, or the language of creation, or the runes of creation.
Mm-hmm.
So from a setting standpoint, I find that kind of interesting. But yeah, it's just some of the first level one stuff. It was like the challenge level of 1. It's like, so everything can save against it unless it's, I don't know, inanimate objects and things. So we'll figure it all out.
Yeah, I mean it's still a roll, so you never know if I'm going to roll low.
Right.
You know, even a save that it should be easy. You know, if you're rolling 3s and 4s, you don't necessarily save against it. So it's hard to. But yeah, I get where you're coming from, though. That's rough. The thing about the Runemark that I find interesting is the runes don't really have levels. You know, like they're the way they work is they're not leveled. So it's not like, oh, there's this rune and, you know, it's a 5th level rune, so you can't really even look at it or understand it until you get to be 7th or 8th level or something like that. Like those runes are, once you've translated it and figured out what it does, right, it's basically usable. Do I have that right?
I believe so, yes. And it's a lot of seems like a lot of the abilities or what it does depends on your level.
Mm-hmm.
Because the durations seem to make a difference on that, like 10 minutes per level or round per level. Like the shielding is just a round per level. So that's why everything happening in a round works really well for me right now at first level, because I could like mitigate damage on someone.
Right.
Versus putting up a shield on someone for a few rounds, which I can't. You know, it's the first level wizard. You gotta be careful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. But I find it really interesting.
Yeah, that's what.
You know, those things really you improve with like what you can do changes a little bit with level, but you're not actually precluded from any, like if you could find any rune, you could find the rune of death, right, and use it, right, or you could find the rune of unmaking and use it even at first level. It's just that it might not be as effective, or it might not be as controllable as, you know, whereas, you know, a wizard can't necessarily just suddenly cast a 6th level spell. It just doesn't work like that, right? If they found it on a scroll, they could attempt it, but it would be very tough for them to actually cast that correctly without having any mishaps.
Yeah, very true. Which is part of why I didn't even ask you, but I just took the runes of the initiate because I figured everything else is either had to be discovered or found.
Right.
And I figure we'll work into something about learning these new runes. Just like I said, like I tried the rending thing, and it's what caused the scars on my face because I blew up a stump in my face. So I have no problem having that kind of flavor making it fun. So it's not just, oh, you just magically learned how to do this rune and it's all perfect and wonderful, and now you can just destroy shit. But you're right. You find a rune, if you can decipher it, you have that in your tool belt.
Right. Well, and so I think, so the other thing about this group is all of you are looking for something, right? Rekmit's looking for more runes, and you know what the deal is with those. Leanise, I think, is looking for. No, Burt is. Let me see. No, who's one of you is looking for somebody. Leanise is looking for somebody, right?
Yeah, it's like a lost relative or something, right?
Yeah, there was something about that.
So Zeno is looking for his family. He got left in a monastery as a baby,
Right.
and he's looking for the parents that abandoned him, and also searching for traces for knowledge of the gods to see which one he wants to follow.
Right. I was thinking Leanise also was looking for somebody.
No, I was just checking and don't have it in my notes, but maybe. I don't think so. She was just out. I have to go back and check.
I had in my notes that Leanise was looking for family acquaintance.
You're right. That was it. It was a family acquaintance.
Okay.
There's people who see on maps and they're taking notes.
And Burt isn't looking for somebody, but is running from something.
I'd say, yeah, Burt's more running from than looking for, but he's always on the lookout for new food, so there you go.
True. And Jake is sort of looking for something. What is Jake looking for?
I think it's to become the most awesome hero of Durendale, and he's kind of following in his father's footsteps, although he doesn't know where his father is. But I think the main thing for him will be tracking down and becoming like just the awesome cleric of Durendale. I think that's the real pitch that I'm going to go with this character. And I think the fun part for my cleric right now is that I haven't had to really be the cleric from the aspect of the heal bot, we haven't had a lot of damage on the party. The runecaster has done his job with, so I think it's nice that I'm not in the classic cleric, but I'm ready to step up if needed.
Mm-hmm.
But you've been turning undead. It's like, that's pretty classic cleric.
It is, but, typically I think clerics kind of get that, limited, role. And I think in most games, because you can turn undead, the DM doesn't necessarily throw it in. So that was actually just a really nice perk tonight. And character development-wise, I think it worked out well because now my cleric thinks that he's totally awesome, unstoppable, which is great to be the hero.
Yeah, I'll admit.
Yeah, clerics usually have to step away from combat because they're healing everybody else that's always injured.
Yeah.
And so if with Rekmit saving us from damage, you're able to get in there and smash some things around.
Right. And, we have the monk, to help do that, but it's just kind of nice that I can step up. So I think we have a pretty versatile when it comes to that. We can move around. So.
And it was a concern when I chose the Runemark, because I was going to go with more like a Heisenfoit, more of a dwarf class. But I wanted to try this out. It looks like it's utility enough to be able to help out at least, so you can actually don't have to heal all the time, and I can, with everything happening around, I can kind of help mitigate some of that stuff, because it's about the best I can do at this level.
Right.
Yeah, the Heisenfote is really interesting to me, just for the same reason that the Oraalau is interesting, because it's a races class kind of mixture, and I'm an old basic D&D player, so I'm all about the races class. I love that. I think it's a great way to sort of have an interesting combination of racial and class abilities, but all in one package that can be unique. But I totally understand why you went with the Runemark too, because I think the Runemark's a really interesting class, and I'm glad you did because I have not seen it in play yet. So I mean, well, not until now, but I had not seen it previous to this, so I was really excited when you said you were going to do Runemark because I think it's great. So I do. Also. Say that again.
Together.
Yeah, yeah. I think.
Well, I like the idea of barbarian.
Yeah, I think this group is going to be really good. I think so far you've all pretty much worked really well together. I'm not sure. Of course, we've only seen you really in sort of close up. You know, this dungeon's not very big and all the rooms are relatively small. So we're kind of in this situation where you're all, you know, right next to each other. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's a little more wilderness things happening and, you know, seeing what happens as we move along, you know. So that'll be interesting. But as I understand it, you're going to go back to this. Your plan is to go back and finish up this and go to the room that you did not previously go to. Is that that's what you're planning?
I think so.
That
Yeah.
would be wise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that brings up the question, I don't remember who brought it up, but next week or no?
Right. So what is everybody's schedule like next? So next week is Christmas week, right? So
Good for me.
It's the day before Christmas Eve, so I'm okay
yeah.
because it's not on the holiday. So
Yeah.
Okay.
it's up to if anyone else.
It's gonna be a little busy for me. I got family coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what about the week after? Is the week after good for everybody?
Good
Week after is good.
Yep, week after is good for sure.
Okay. Let's not meet next week then, just because this way we won't run into any issues with family being neglected or anybody feeling pressured to show up.
Right.
So I think it's probably a good idea to not have the stream next week and to wait for the week after, and then we'll just keep going weekly in that case. But yeah, so if that's okay with everybody, I think that's the way to go.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good.
All right, perfect. Well, with that, I
One
think
more-
this is...
Any other question?
Yeah.
One question. What happened to the sixth guy?
He actually has a family issue right now, and so he may or may not be with us next time, and if he's not, then I will go to my first alternate. And maybe we'll talk about it and figure out, make sure that we want the sixth player, because right now this group is really cohesive, and I think that you cover all the bases. The reason I wanted 6 was if 1 or 2 people are gone, we still play. But I think 5 is actually a good number in terms of players, so that's something we can revisit next week. He might actually... I saved a spot for him, so the reason I didn't just jump out and go to my first alternate player already is because he really wants to play. He just had some family stuff that he had to take
Samuel, you know what would be cool? You know what would be cool is if you had special guests that we didn't know about that just showed up for like maybe 15 minutes or an hour and played like an NPC in the middle of the stream. If you could have Chuck come up and show up with his little crazy wizard guy that always shows up, be a guest NPC for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Just
That would be neat.
just shows up and wreaks havoc and then takes off.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's thing that
Exactly.
drops a hand grenade in the middle of the group and then says, "Hey, bye."
I believe that's what Chuck would do.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is.
Well, maybe I'll talk to Chuck about that.
Maybe we could get Steve to drop in. That would be awesome.
Oh boy, yeah.
I mean, they don't have to stay for long. Just a little 10-minute NPC interaction.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
it could happen. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, on that note, I think that maybe this can be the end. It is getting on 11 o'clock, and I always like to do about 4 hours. So I think I just want to thank everybody for showing up and watching, and I hope you had fun, and thank the players for showing up, and I hope you had fun, and I certainly had fun. I always love running this game. It's just so nice. And I think you guys are great players, and you're meshing really well. So I have really high hopes, and I've already started scheming for the next 3 or 4 sessions. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, we'll say goodbye. Everybody say goodbye, and we will move to the thank you screen. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.
I see you got Greta, Alex.
Yep. Yeah, she's here.
She's thank you.